Alright, so interestingly enough, I had a Bluetooth headset on during this entire install, and I was talking, so you'll hear me walk by talking and telling you about things, but it wasn't working. So let me just do a little bit of a voiceover right now. So what we're going to do is a Volvo 2022 Volvo VNL windshield. Volvo's had the same windshield for 30 years, so very simple, very easy. I've done a whole bunch of them. And this one is going to be just as easy as the next. What I do first is pull the glass out, inspect it, take all the tape off, make sure there's no chips or anything on it, and make sure that it's a good piece of glass, no scratches, all that good stuff before I even attempt to take the windshield out of the truck, because what happens is if I take it out of the truck and the windshield I have is bad, I got to drive back to the shop. Run into that before. So what I'm going to do today is take all the tape, stickers, everything else, make sure I have a good piece of glass, and then I'll go over to the truck and start taking that out. There's a lot of walking back and forth from the van to the setup. My phone is currently set up inside the van, propped up against my coffee cup to get a good angle, so. I've been doing glass for 10 years, and the guy that taught me for about 6 months and then retired. So other than the 6 months of training, I am self-taught and learned lots of different techniques along the way, and also learned how to set semis by myself. Definitely an experience, definitely dangerous. What I like to do is send out two-man crews to these type of jobs just to make sure everybody's safe and it's sufficient. But today we were busy, so I did them myself. Currently inside the truck, what I'm doing is prepping to push the glass out. These are gasket set windshields. What I like to do first is use my hook and loosen up the gasket around the corner and kind of pull it down on both the edge and the top to get it just broken free. They have some sticky stuff on them to kind of help hold them in place. So before I go to push it out, I do that, and then you'll see me here, and I pushed it right out. This gasket was actually pretty soft. It had been sitting out in the sun for a while, and it was about 85 degrees this morning when I did this job. So it came out pretty easy. Went over to the other side, same thing, loosened up the corner and kind of break it free in the corner before I pushed it out. And then ultimately what I do is push out the top and sides first. They're going to be the easiest. And then once those are out of the way and I have it loose across the top and sides, it's a whole lot easier to push out the bottom. And I can kind of use my tool in conjunction to help push out the bottom. And you'll see me there hooking the bottom before I push it out. And I got the wipers there to hold it so that I don't pop it out and it just falls off the truck. It kind of holds it in place even once I get it popped out of the gasket. So there it is. It's popped all the way out. I'm climbing back out of the truck. Another trip to the toolbox. Got to get out of socket. Got to take the wipers off at this point, or actually we're just going to loosen them a little bit to fold them down out of the way so I can get that out all the way. But
got our wipers
I'm prepping myself for the next step, which was flipping that glass over, because when we put the gasket on, to be able to put the move the gasket from the old windshield to the new windshield, it's easier to put it on from that direction. It just kind of slides on a whole lot easier. So what I'm going to do is loosen up those wipers, like I said, we'll get those out of the way, and then I'll slip the glass off the truck and kind of set it on the ground so I can climb back down. I've got a ladder set up on the other side over there. Once I'm down, you'll see me carry that around. I'm going to lean it up against the truck here for a second, because you see right there in the kind of the middle top of the windshield is a camera. That camera assembly comes glued to the windshield from the factory. What I'm going to do is use my extractor to cut that off, and we're going to move it to the new windshield. Now there is an ability for us to buy a windshield with the bracket already on it, but the windshield costs quite a bit more. So to save our customers the money and for ease of carrying around one windshield that fits most trucks, we just carry the one windshield that doesn't have the camera, and we move that bracket over there From the factory, it comes glued on the windshield, but a lot of these cameras come with double sticky tape. So what we end up doing is cutting all the old glue off, clean everything up, and use 3M adhesive to re-stick that camera back in the center of the windshield. Got the gasket off. Now it's time to pop that on the new windshield. It's fairly simple. You just kind of find the center of it. There's like a mark where you know where the top center is, and you can see me looking for it there. Throw it on the glass, get everything straightened out, and just start putting it on there. And it kind of, you get the corners slipped on first, and then the sides and the bottom, you can see I just kind of roll it on there. It's kind of a technique that I've learned over the years that it's pretty quick. So get the corners on, get the one side on, pop the other corners on, and the side, and then I do the top and the bottom.
The way the truck shape kind of just pushes it into place, and it's done by friction and gravity. So it's helping there pretty good. I mean, I haven't pushed pretty hard to get that. So it's not.
You can see me there talking away about this while I was recording this video, but unfortunately I'm doing this voiceover, which probably isn't as good as doing it real time. I thought I had a really good script going there while I was installing, and wasn't really thinking about it too much because I was working. So like I said, it's 85, really humid. We're in South Carolina, so I'm sweating like crazy, but that's what the sleeves are for, right? Pop that old windshield back on the van. We try not to leave broken glass on the van too long because we're a high efficiency shop. What I like to do is once we're done doing the windshield in these trucks is we pull by the dumpster. They have semi-sized dumpsters, and truck all that old glass so that our vans are clear and ready for the next job. And go back to the shop and load up without having to clean off the van. It's all about efficiency. We call our vans rolling warehouses. We carry a whole bunch of glass on them. We try to keep as much stock windshields. We get calls all day long from trucking companies that say, hey, I need this, I need it right now, and most of the time we can have it on the van and ready to roll. What I'm doing now is wandering around aimlessly looking for the rope. It looks like I must have found it by then, but I don't normally operate out of this van. It's somebody else's. They have their tools organized in just such a way. And the problem is when you operate out of somebody else's van, the tools are organized the way they like them. And so it took me a little bit to find their rope. This is a rope set windshield, which just means the rope goes in the gasket. You put it up against the body, and then you pull on the rope and it lips the gasket over the pinch weld to pop it into place. The way these windshields are held in is kind of a combination of friction and gravity, and the way that the windshield is set into the body is once it gets popped into there, the forces of how it is holds the gasket in place, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a combination event. How you push it out, you use a hook tool to push it out, and then when you're putting it in, you use a rope, and it kind of pops into place, and then you just slap the glass a little bit from the outside to get it to do the final pop in place, and it kind of just holds itself in. A lot of semis back in the day were like this. Volvo is one of the few that continue to do this for 30 years. A lot of semis now are glue-in windshields, but there's still a lot of rope-in windshields. One of the Peterbilt models, actually two of the Peterbilt models, still are rope-in. Freightliner Cascadias are considered rope-in somewhat, but they are very similar gasket set windshields rather than glue-in. They are made for really fast changing of the windshield and no wait time. As soon as it's done, you can hop on the road and you don't have to wait for glue to dry or anything like that. So I think that's kind of why the engineers designed it that way. Here's me again, absent from the video, trying to find the glass cleaner that I like to spray around the seal as kind of a lubricant. The only can that I could find in the van had a broken head on it, so I couldn't spray it. So I'm digging around back there looking for that, and ultimately can't find it and end up using a different can of glass cleaner. One thing I mentioned while I was talking to myself in the video was that you can use soap and water for this. Oh, that's what I was doing. That's what I get for doing a voiceover. I was getting double sticky tape and putting it on the camera so that I could reset it in the middle. The things that I talked about while I was explaining it is that the camera has specific dimensions of where it's supposed to be, and so there's a mark on the top center of the glass that shows the center line, and what we do is we set that camera right on the center line 2 inches down from the top of the glass. We kind of just eyeball it. It's close enough. But that way we get that same factory set style. Most trucking companies are in the center, or most truck brands are in the center, but there are a few weird ones like International that have them offset by 4 inches or 6 inches or this or that. Volvo made it nice and easy, right smack in the center, 2 inches down from the top. So got that on there. There's the glass cleaner I'm going to use to spray around the edges.
My phone overheated while I was in the middle of that.
Let me take a second here to explain that my camera overheated.
Putting the windshield up there.
And I already had sprayed the glass. I took it over there, set it on the truck. My phone rang. I walked over there to check it and saw that the camera had stopped. So you missed about 45 seconds of me spraying around the edge of the glass and then taking it up there and putting it in the truck. It's just sitting in the hole right now. And then the wipers are there just to hold it in place. I torqued those back down so that it's kind of just holding it in place, and I'm on the inside of the truck, and now I'm going to start pulling that rope to set it in. You'll start to see the windshield kind of pop into place as I'm pulling on the rope. And then as I get closer to the edge, my arm will stick around there to kind of hold it tight up against the pinch weld as I'm pulling on the rope so that it'll slip into place. Let's see. I have a suction cup also in the center of the glass. There I am holding the corner of the glass so I can get the rope around there. I don't know how easy that is to see. I'm kind of just trying to pop it into place and hold it down. I'm slapping it in. You saw it move there just a little bit. That's kind of the technique. If there's two people, which we normally have, one person holds it in kind of tight up against the truck and the other person pulls on the rope. But when you're doing it by yourself, you kind of got to do both jobs. So it's not terrible. It probably takes almost the identical amount of time to do it with two people as it does with one. I mean, we're 12 minutes into this video right now, and I'm almost done. I think this whole video took 19 minutes, so with two people, it might shave off a couple of minutes here and there, but generally speaking, other than the climbing up and down off the truck with the glass over my shoulder, which you get to see, that's probably the most dangerous part, and for both me, the truck, and the glass. I mean, if I trip on my way up there, the glass breaks. And maybe I break a leg or fall off the truck or whatever else, or if you step on the wrong thing when you're on the center of the truck, we've had that happen where we broke a sensor off, or we broke a hose off, broke a nipple off a radiator, those kind of things. So it's kind of like walking over landmines when you climb onto a semi, so you don't break anything. And you get them a good product with a good piece of glass installed in the truck so that it won't leak. So right now I'm over there on the driver's side. You can barely tell that I'm over there, doing the same thing you just saw me do on the passenger side, reaching my arm around, roping it in. Actually, when I was doing this, the rope slipped out of the gasket, which happens sometimes. And what I ended up having to do when that happened is hook it in manually by hand and kind of get it in there. So it was a little bit more difficult on this install. I've done a whole lot of installs, and it happens every once in a while where the rope just, for whatever reason, pops out of the gasket. Then you just got to do it manually. So currently what I'm doing is hooking it in. You'll probably see me, there it is right there, using a hook to pull it, and I'm just pulling on that center suction cup to try to get the gasket to pop into place. And then once I get done on the inside, kind of popping it into place, I come around to the outside to give it the final seat. It gets caught up on the outside on a body seam and doesn't really want to pop into place, so I use the hook on the outside to kind of push the seal past the body seam, and then it pops right in. It's kind of a satisfying feeling. Perfect fit like a glove. Time to get out, go around, climb up the ladder, put it back together.
Well,
I was climbing out of the truck and the rope got caught around my leg, but it's a good time to pick up all my tools, set them back on the van.
Happiness.
One of my most famous rules
Because of the
is
30
do
second
not
gap
leave
and me
tools
rebooting my
sitting
phone
on the
and
truck.
everything else.
You will forget them.
All my lubricant dry.
I only know all these things
Made a little bit of
from
a pain.
past experiences of me setting something down and then walking away. So here I go, taking my hook tool around. I'm going to get that top seam. You'll see me run the hook along the top, and that's to pop this gasket behind the body seam. It's kind of an overlap there. I think it's to help rain kind of over with the flow over the top of the windshield. And then you'll see me start to slap it in once it gets past there. And it kind of just gives it the final seat into its place. There are places to step. You can see me stepping carefully over top of that truck. And then I'm going to do another little bit of slapping in right there before I climb down. And the last step here is get the glass cleaner and give it a clean.
You missed 30 seconds of me carrying it up there and setting it in the hole. You got to see me install it. It was more of a pain than usual. All I got left to do is clean it. Hopefully my phone doesn't overheat.
One thing I like to tell everybody about being a windshield installer is just because we install glass doesn't mean we're any good at cleaning it. We do our best, but you can't help it when it smears. So we're just like you. We're not, there's no special anything. We're spraying it with the glass cleaner and we're wiping it down. The only difference between us doing it and you doing it is the glass is perfectly clean while we're doing it to wipe off maybe sweat or any dust or grime while we were putting it in. There's no dead bugs stuck to the windshield. There's no dirt. There's no grime. It's perfectly clean. So when we're cleaning it, there's nothing on there to make it dirty. Now I'm going to go back in there and just make sure whatever I took down is reattached and clean the inside. A lot of times, we'll touch the inside while we're doing something and it'll leave fingerprints on the windshield, or we'll get, a handprint, or our sweaty arm touches the windshield, whatnot. Sticking back on the GPS tracker on the side there. We're almost done. What we like to do is leave the truck cleaner or in the same shape that it was already in when we touched the truck. So anything we remove from the glass, we put back on, whether it's GPS trackers, cameras. They have pre-passes that are on them.
That's all she wrote.
They have drive cameras,
According
interior,
to my
exterior,
camera,
etc.
start to finish.
Some places have a whole bunch of stuff.
7 plus 11 plus a minute maybe missed. 19 minutes. 2022 Volvo VNL.